it's one thing to make the money, but it's another thing to be smart with the money. Where did the ideas come from to start these businesses? I mean, like, for you to go and do the line. I remember when there was conversation about your line and your line being available in Kmart, which I thought was genius, right? I was like, holy shit, to understand how big the world is, to understand that middle America is the best part of America, because those are the most people, like, responding. What was it that made you say, I want to go in this direction, and this is what I'm going to focus on?
Well, you know what? That was even way before Modern Family.
Okay.
So in the Latin market, I had my job at Univision, but at that time in the 90s, I was making money, but it wasn't really like, like mansion money or Corvette money, no. It was, money to survive and to, save for my son's college education and all that. It was okay. But I always wanted more, I always wanted to create something for me, for my son, for my family. I went from Colombia from a lot of problems to living in the United States. I wanted to take care of all of them. So I wanted to make money. I love money.
Okay.
And then, so I started making calendars. The only thing that I could sell was really myself.
Okay.
At that time, because I was young and fresh, I started doing like calendars, like January, February, all that.
What, dude? I'm sorry, January, do January again?
January, February.
It's the same pose, just right to left. You didn't really change. Yes, I just want to let you.
So one of those, and I did really good.
Okay, the calendars ended up being a big success.
Yeah, it was a big success. And so I started realizing, I am the product, and I can sell, myself. It sounds horrible.
No, it doesn't. You're talking about your likeness.
Yes, exactly.
And at the end of the day, realizing your worth and realizing the value in your likeness sometimes was overlooked by a lot of people in the business. So you catching this is dope as hell. So what started out as calendars then became
more and more stuff, because, for example, I knew that to be able. Also, I always had a very good chemistry with girls, like, with women's fans. And they would always, since I'm young, come to me when they would meet me for a picture or something. It's like, oh, what perfume are you wearing? Oh, with what do you wash your hair? Oh, with what is that lipstick? Oh, where is this outfit? And so it's always like they're always asking me. So I'm like, that's why I always wanted to create all this, like, I wanted to be like, I wish I was like some kind of like Martha Stewart of the Latin, it's like, that was like always my idea, my dream. I cannot even compare.
But you are. Like, granted, Martha's success is her success, but you're talking about somebody that's really thriving in the business of commerce. Like, creating products, selling product, and successfully selling more product and constantly building, well, you are. So you don't have to say, like, I want to try. I think that's the dopest thing about your road to monumental success, is that it compounded past the actress. And, acting isn't going to get us to the crazy place of wealth. That's one tier. It's tapping into the things that you've done and that you did.
But for example, I think now when I started, Modern Family finished 3 years ago, and I did it for 11 years. So, 14 years ago, not as many actresses had, other businesses. They were just actresses. You could see one or two selling something, but it was not, like that. And because I was coming from the Latin market, when I got the fame with Modern Family, I knew I could, be a person for commercials, for example. And then, what I thought that I could bring to the table to someone was, for example, if you hire me, in one day of shooting, you get it in Spanish, you get it in English.
Yes, okay.
So why hire Kevin Hart that can only speak English when you can hire Sofia Vergara in one day?
What the fuck is happening, Sofia?
Do it in Spanish and in English.
Yeah.
So, but you understand.
Well, I do, but I don't feel like you had to use me as an example of what not to hire. By the way,
hear who else am I going to use?
Well, I clearly speak both languages.
Yeah.
So that's the one mistake that you've made. We don't have to get into that.